Hey everybody, Jeff here.
Megan.
And today we are going to be looking at a game called Gross Love Candy!
Yep.
Ghost Love Candy from 5th Street Games. Created by Danny Devine, artwork by Danny Devine. I think he's done an excellent job with that. And what is the premise of Ghost Love Candy? Well, you are a ghost. You really enjoy candy. Unfortunately, you can't eat candy as a ghost. But, lucky for you, once a year, the kids come out in droves to eat candy on Halloween. So you can influence / possess these kids and make them try to eat as much candy as possible, and you can get all this lovely candy that you enjoy, except kids can only eat so much candy before getting sick. So if you make a kid sick, you kind of take them on. They're your responsibility. Basically, they're worth negative points at the end of the game. You're basically going to continue to play this game until you all the candy comes out of a bag, and then at the end of the game, you're going to figure out how many points you have versus, you've got negative points for kids and varying points depending on your craving card for the candy, because every player, candy is going to be worth something different to them. And that's kept secret until the end of the game, although as the game goes on, you kind of start to figure out what some people are going for. So, what did you think of this one?
I like this game. I think it's, first off, the artwork is very cute.
Yes.
And I know that's exactly what you're looking for in a game.
For the theme and it coming from 5th Street Games, this fits right into their line. They actually do a lot of family-friendly type games and a very cartoony a lot of times. And I think this fits right into their game house. So I think it's done very well. I think Danny did a great job with the artwork for this and to match the theme. So it's one of those cool things where it's the person that designed it is also the person that did the art for it, and it flows right across the board. So I think he's done a great job with it. So what aspects of this did you particularly like?
Well, I really like that it changes every time you play it. And I think just because, which is sometimes hard because you forget, oh wait, the candy corn were 0 this time instead of 5. But it's little things like that I like, that it changes every time, because it's going to change your strategy every time based on what kids are up. And even this last time, I think this is the 3rd or 4th time we played it, there's kid cards that I hadn't seen before, so I really like that.
Yep, I give you that one. I mean, this is a nice game for replayability and being variable every time you kind of play it, because your ghosts aren't going to change. Everybody has ghosts 1 through 9, so that piece of it isn't going to change. But the fact that which kids are out, when they're out, how the abilities interact with each other, and some of them have abilities that are kind of always on, some of them are only activated when you put a ghost down, but every kid has an ability, and some of them kind of interact with each other. You might have the cheerleader, that as long as the cheerleader's alive, or as long as the cheerleader's not sick, then the kids adjacent to her can't be sick. You've got like the doctor, that the kid that's dressed up as a doctor, because again, these are all kids in costume. If you have a ghost on the kid with the doctor costume on, then you don't make the next kid you make sick, instead of going into your candy pile, which would be -2 points for you, your candy stash, it actually gets discarded. Just little things like that you're kind of watching and intermixing, and again, they vary because you never know when they're going to come up. And then, like Megan said, every time you play, you get a new candy craving card. So it's not like every time you play, oh, okay, gummies are always what I'm going for. Candy corn is always the thing I want to try to avoid. So that mixes up a little bit as well. And it just all mixes together for a really nice replayable game. And I believe it goes 2 to 6, if I'm remembering right. So it's got a nice breadth of play there. You can play it with a lot of different people. We've played it 2-player. We've played it 4-player. Works well across the board no matter what. Once you start understanding the characters, I think it plays very quick too. So, maybe that first play to just kind of get used to it, would you say?
Yeah, well,
for a casual gamer.
The first time I was sort of iffy on the game, but once I played it again, it really grew on me, and I really began to like it. Especially going back to what he was saying about playing with a family. I think, especially kids, I think this is a great game. It's not too complicated. Some of the card games with tricks and everything can get overcomplicated for kids, but I think this is just that right level of play where I think kids would really enjoy this game.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about this with kids is obviously it appeals to kids because the majority of the game that you're kind of looking at is kids in costume, kids, having fun on Halloween, kids collecting candy, and you're trying to get that candy. So that part a kid can kind of get into. Depending on the age of the kids you're playing with, though, the one thing I know, like when we reviewed it on the podcast, Jordan and I kind of talked about was, just having the adult there to help with those abilities that always have to be checked, and, that kind of, well, remember, that princess doesn't get sick this time because she's adjacent to the cheerleader, that kind of stuff. But that's just normal playing with kids and stuff anyway. That part's going to be easy enough to do. And really, this is one of those games you could kind of lead up into that. I mean, you could play it straight up, don't make the kids sick, get the candy, don't worry about abilities, and eventually evolve it into playing with the abilities as your kids get used to it or get comfortable with it. So, yeah, I think this is a great family game. I can completely see this being played with a family. Again, the casual gamer aspect with the one thing was, since Megan hasn't played a ton of variable power type things, that took her a little bit to get used to. So the first game was just kind of getting used to that. But, you heard her. We've played 3, 4, 5 times, something like that now, and it hasn't gotten old, and it's been enjoyable every time we've played it. So definitely worth checking out. It is on Kickstarter right now, so head on over there. They're doing very well. I believe they're almost funded, or they are funded. I haven't checked in the last couple days. I know they were kind of right on that line of getting funded and starting to head towards stretch goals. So go check it out, and now hang out. We'll show you components and some gameplay. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
All right, now I'm going to show you the components that come with Ghosts Love Candy. Once again, this is a prototype, so things will change in the final version, but this will give you a good idea of what you're playing with. First and foremost, can I say I absolutely love the fact that the prototype came in an old VHS box. That is awesome, and I know I'm not alone because I've seen lots of favorable comments for the preview copy coming in this container. So that was cool. I'm sure you'll get a full-blown box, though, for the main game. So what comes in Ghosts Love Candy? Well, instruction sheet, again, prototype. So we've got a nice printed sheet here that was very easy to understand and go through. Of course, this will probably be a full-size rule book for the final version, of course. You get a bag, and this bag is full of candy goodness. So this is, you blindly pull the candy that's going to go on the kids out of this bag, and once this bag is empty, you will basically trigger the last round of the game by emptying the bag. So what kinds of candy are there? Well, let me pull some over here, show you. So we've got peppermints, candy corn, lollipops, gummies, licorice, and chocolate. So those are all mixed in inside the bag and will get pulled out randomly on each child. You also get a first player token. King Ghost will determine who's the first player. First player breaks ties. So it goes in turn order for whoever is the first player. Everybody will get a craving card. So what does a craving card do? Well, the craving card tells you how you're going to score for your candy that you collect. So these are, everybody gets one. They're all different and they're secret. So no, you don't reveal them until the end of the game when you're actually doing the final scoring. But for instance, if this was mine, I get 5 points for every piece of chocolate I collect, 4 for licorice, 3 for gummies, 2 for lollipops, 1 for candy corn, and I get nothing for peppermint. So again, just to show you, these are all a little bit different. That one, gummies are the high value, and candy corn is the low value. So everybody will get dealt one of those to kind of determine what kind of candy they really want to collect. Each player will get ghost cards in their color. Again, this goes to 6 players. But you get ghosts in your color from 1 to 9. You play these. If you're the highest ghost played in a round, you get to go first. But you also got to kind of watch out for making kids sick because of the total value of the ghost numbers that are trying to affect that kid. I'll show you that here next. So those are your ghost cards. And then we've got the deck of kids that we're trying to possess to get us more candy. And to show you, here we've got the doctor. So we've got a kid dressed up as a doctor for Halloween. The explanation in the corner here means that it has an ongoing effect that we kind of got to keep in mind during the entire time it's out in play, or potentially even while it's in your stash. So this 10 here, that is its sickness point. So once 10 value of ghosts line up under it to affect the doctor, you'll make this kid sick. If you're the card that makes a kid sick, you put that kid in your stash pile and it's worth -2 points for you at the end of the game. So we got the title here and then the special ability. So if you have a ghost here, so if you've got a ghost underneath the doctor, discard any new kids you make sick instead of adding them to your stash. So if you've got a ghost here, you can make a kid sick somewhere else, and instead of going into your stash for -2 points, you'll actually just discard it. So it actually helps you elsewhere, but she can still be made sick. Let's look at a couple others here. Here's the chef, so no ongoing ability. 15 points to make the chef sick, and you may swap a candy from your stash for one on any active kid. So any kid that's out, you can take a piece of candy and put one of your pieces of candy on them. So again, if you've collected some of that 0-point candy, you can get points out of it by swapping it out, by putting a card under the chef. So how it goes, candy will kind of pile up on the kids. When you play a card under it, you get to take the candy, then you trigger the ability, and then you determine if they're sick or not. So that's that. So there you go. Kids, craving cards, first player token, bag full of candy, your ghost cards, an instruction sheet, all leads us to ghosts love candy. Alright, so now let's show you some gameplay. Alright, so ghosts love candy. Here we've already kind of done setup a little bit. Each of us gets cards, ghost cards in our color from 1 through 9. So I'm playing Sir Toppington.
I'm playing McSpooky. Ooh.
And then we've each randomly gotten a craving card, which shows you what you're scoring, what kind for each piece of candy. So what's important to you and what's not important to you. All right, and then we've got, since we're playing 2 players, we've got 4 kids out that are going to start collecting candy. If you play 3 to 4 players, this will be 6 kids. 5 to 6 players, it'll be 8 kids that'll be collecting candy. The game goes until the last candy is drawn out of the bag, and then that's the final round. So to start with, oh, is our guy in here? He must be in here, huh? Yes. And a first player marker, which we'll go ahead and give to Megan. So King Ghost is our first player marker. And again, Megan has a different craving card than I do, so the candy will be different points for her than it is for me. So we are not necessarily going for the same types of candy. So the first thing you do is every kid that's out gets a piece of candy. So there's first, let me go ahead and tell you what characters we got out here. So we've got the ninja, who has a sickness value of 10, and you may move one ghost in play to any kid. That ghost does not receive candy or an action. Place that ghost as the last card played on that kid. Then we've got the dinosaur, who's got a sickness of 20 and has an always on ability, like we showed you in components. If the dinosaur is still active at the end of the game, the last ghost played to the dinosaur will get 5 points. We've got the witch, who's at a sickness of 10. Starting clockwise from you, all other players must place a candy from their stash on the active kid of their choice. And then we have Frankenstein. Again, an always active ability that we got to kind of keep in mind. Sickness of 20. If Frankenstein is still active at the end of the game, all players earn 1 point for every 0-point candy they have in their stash. So there are candies for both of us that are worth 0 points to us. If Frankenstein lasts the entire game, we actually will get a point for those candies. So a peppermint came out on the ninja, another peppermint for the dinosaur, candy corn on the witch, and licorice on Frankenstein. So now what we do is we both simultaneously play face down one of our ghost cards that we're going to use this round. First, making sure you know what you're scoring and where. I will just do that for right now. So now that everybody's done it, you look, okay, I have a 4, she's got a 3, so ties will be broken by first player or play order, but since I have a 4, I get to place mine first. I'll play on Frankenstein, I guess. So of the 20 points to make Frankenstein sick, there's 4 there now. And the first thing you do is you take all the candy. So if he would have collected multiple candies, I would have taken them all. And then you can trigger the ability, although you got to kind of read them because some of their abilities do affect the candy aspect. But this one is just the points at the end of the game, so no real ability trigger. So now Megan will go, and this licorice just stays off to the side. It is visible to everybody to see what you're scoring.
I'm going to play on the witch.
Just put it up here.
So I will take the candy corn. And then the ability is starting clockwise from me. All other players must place a candy from their stash on the active kid of their choice.
All right, so I got to put candy back. So I guess I'll put it back on Frankenstein.
And
Yep, so I'll be first player, and then all the kids get more candy. So now the ninja gets a licorice to go with that peppermint. The dinosaur gets a piece of chocolate to go with his peppermint. The witch has a gummy bear, and Frankenstein gets a gummy bear as well with the licorice. We play cards again. Reveal. Reverse of last time. All right, so you get to play first.
I'll play on Frankenstein and take the gummy and the licorice.
All right. I guess I will play the ninja. So I get a peppermint and a licorice, and then I can move a ghost. I'll do that.
Okay.
All right. Chocolate. The dinosaur is racking up. Now it's got a lollipop, chocolate bar, and candy corn. For those keeping score at home, the 3s and 4s are out. Alright, I'll do that, I guess.
Okay.
Alright, your 6 beats my 5.
I will place it on the witch.
Okay.
Take that gummy and the chocolate. And then the ability is to have Jeff put one on.
I guess I can put it there. And go there. Take all of that. And that is just a ability for endgame, so nothing that we do right now. Kids get some candy again. Gummy, gummy, candy corn, and gummy. All right.
Okay.
Well, guess you get to go first with your big 9 over my 6.
Yeah. I am going to play it on the ninja, take the candy, then I'm going to move Jeff's Toppington card from the ninja, place it on the witch, which then would...
Yep, so she's moved my card to the witch, which now brings it over its sickness total. The candy corn gets discarded. Since my card was the one that made the witch sick, that goes into my score pile for -2 points. These all get discarded. I'll take mine, put it in my discard pile. Take yours in your discarded pile. And then a new kid comes out. So we've got the werewolf. Sickness value of 15. If you don't play a higher ghost than the last ghost that was played here, you must place 1 candy from your stash on the werewolf. Alright, so I've still got to play my guy here. Well, I guess I'll go here and take those 2. And again, end of game ability, so nothing that triggers right now. Ninja gets a piece of licorice. Dinosaur adds a lollipop. Our new werewolf gets a piece of chocolate. And Frankenstein gets licorice. Ready?
Guess you go first.
I go first. All right, so I'm gonna go there. Take the candy, piece of licorice from the ninja. I'm gonna do something similar to what Megan did. I'm gonna take her 9, move it over to the werewolf.
I will rethink my entire plan. I'll go for the dinosaur, take the gummy and the lolly.
All right. I'll become first player. Chocolate bar, lollipop, candy corn, and chocolate bar. Guess I'll do that and see what happens.
Okay.
7. All right, you go first.
Okay. I'm going to play it on Frankenstein and take the chocolate and the licorice.
All right. I will. Well, I guess I'm going to go here. So I get the candy. The ability triggers. I'll take, what do I got here? I'll take the lolly. The lollipop on him, but then I've made it 16 where he actually is 15, so he's sick. That will go away. This will go into my score pile. And we'll each put a card in our discard pile. And a new kid will come out. The Angel. Sickness of 15. An ability we always have to be concerned about. If you have a ghost here, players may not affect your stash in any way. All right, so this will be since we're down to 2 cards left in our hand for actual numbered cards, we'll play this one. Since this is a 2-player game and we'll continue on, we'll get our whatever's in our discard pile back for the next set of rounds.
Oh, okay.
Last round.
Ah.
Little candy corn action, some chocolate, candy corn, and finally, chocolate.
Booyah.
9. Does any of that help me? I guess I'll go here. Take that.
Well, I'll take the chocolate. Okay.
And the sickness.
And the sickness.
All right. So that ends the game. Now we total up. Again, every kid that you've made sick in your stash is worth -2 points. So basically every peppermint is negated for me. And then you look at your craving card for the different candies and how much points they were worth.
62.
Seriously? Mm-hmm. Wow. You smoked me. 36.
Yep.
Nice. Well, there you go. That's how you play Ghosts Love Candy, especially if you're Megan.